every time with you.
What was the first thing you said? Am I ready for what?
You ready for some poop stories?
And we're off.
And we're running, because we're going to talk about your thing first.
What are we talking about with my thing first?
Your panel. I want to explore the whole panel situation. I think that because honestly, there's a level of that when I started thinking about it. There's a level of that is somewhat of a defining moment for you. You may have been in similar things in the past, but even just based on the conversation we had prior to like going into it, like I think this is a big step for you. Like,
what was the first thing you said?
Comfortability.
Am I ready for what?
And like inclusion into that level and that side of things. I don't know.
And we're off.
Tired host, listen to you.
What are we talking about with my thing first?
You do sound tired. And wait, ready to bring the energy. I'm Eric Alkaline. Couple things. So one thing. So okay. I'm wearing my Luna hoodie today.
Oh.
Yeah. We lost Luna.
Away.
Yeah. We had to. That was actually the first time. Interestingly, first time I've had to put a dog down because.
How did Milo take it?
He was okay. He was sad about it. He was okay, but for the most part. But that's because he didn't have that relationship with her because she was a rescue and we got her in Miami. She was a rescue and we got her as a companion for Carrie because I was really busy and Carrie was didn't have a lot of folks down there. And before we got her, she was abused by kids. Luna was. And so she was never comfortable with kids. And so she was not comfortable with Milo, like, ever, like, growing up. And then he finally got old enough that she was okay, but she was never, like, wanted to be with him, cuddle him, like he could pet her without her being nervous about it, whatever. So he never got to have that experience. Thankfully, with my parents, the dog they have now and the last dog they had, Lottie, he was really close with. So he got to at least have that growing up, like that experience of a loving dog and being able to be around and be physical and affectionate and whatnot. So he was okay. That was the long answer to he was okay with it. Carrie, on the other hand, not okay. She's still struggling with it. But I got I had her a hoodie made for Christmas for one of her Christmas presents. Hers was the larger embroidered, if that's what it's called, in the center. And then of course when they're checking out, they're like, "Hey, if you want to get one for a fraction of the cost, another one, just click here." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll get one." So that's my honoring our old dog. She had a really good life though. She was 15. She just got to the point where she wasn't okay anymore. So we had to go through that. That was brutal. Putting a loved one down, a little loved one pet down.
Yeah, that is brutal. That just goes to. It was brought to my attention this week in a meeting, no less, that you're good at giving gifts, and that's even just further proof of that.
I don't know about that. I mean, like, I get. So, last week's episode, in your defense,
was it?
Oh no, sorry. Yeah. You're air two episodes. Yeah, because we did
episodes.
India. Yeah, the gifts episode.
Well, that
end
was
of season. End of season 2, the gifts episode. To be fair, you didn't know I was coming with. I didn't prep you. I didn't warn you that I was coming with with different gifts and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but I know you.
I alluded to the fact that I was working on something or making something for you.
I know you. Yeah, I know what you're about.
But I don't do it all the time. I just did it this year. It was one of those years. I got inspired.
Next Christmas, you're getting a bunch of stuff from me that I'm going to go into my lab and make it.
I look forward to that. As I said in the gifts episode, I won't get my hopes up. You're a busy man. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
But you've done some fun, cool stuff too. Like we talked about the video for the Whitey Alley stuff and whatever. So there are lots of fun, cool things that you've done in the past as well. Yeah. So interestingly, I've with this, when I gave it to Carrie with the hoodie, I put a picture of the picture that was used, right, which was one that where she had taken Luna out for the park and to the park for a walk, and she was back in the car, and she was happy with her mouth open and her tongue out. She looked like she was smiling. She loved going to the park, and I just wrote on there like, thanks for being a great mom, or something along those lines, and then so she saw it, Carrie just started bawling, and I was like, oh, of course, but I was like, no, this might have been a little too soon, and it's sort of wrecked the vibe of Christmas morning, but oops. But she loved it. She wears it all the time.
There's a show on, I think it's Discovery, maybe Oxygen or something. It's called Buried in the Backyard. I think that's the show. It's a murder show.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right, and it's successful, so you can only have so many cases where someone's buried in the backyard, right? So the conceit kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like, as long as you bury something in your life, you're on the show or something like that, or if like, hey, there was a ring buried under trash. I'm sure it's, our conceit of our show, Defining Moments, is just spread to this. I think that's a defining moment. Sure, we'll make it a defining moment.
Well, okay, so
death of a dog for sure is a defining moment. I was just going back to you saying like me on this panel is a defining moment. It's not.
Okay,
maybe it is. I get why you said it, because I talked to you on the way to there, but and sometimes some of the moments, sure. It's broad. It's a broad reference at this broader.
Point. Yeah, sure. Especially with us. I mean, we have things like I have a couple things that I will tell this season, like some what I'll call defining moments, and honestly, it's up for debate. We've posted some other stuff, even like my firecracker episode, which I thought was very defining for me on multiple levels, in various ways. There were people that were like, nah, I don't see that as a defining moment. And I was like, okay.
Who said that? Let's get him on. I want to know, how is that not... You get
it was Kurt.
And charged with a... Kurt said that?
Yes.
Kurt.
Yes.
That was not like, a defining moment?
And I was like, that's okay. I mean, and he gave like some explanation. I was like, okay, I get it. Sure.
What on earth could that explanation be?
Doesn't matter. We don't have to dig that up. But my point is... even if things that we may find to be or think of as defining for whatever reason, of course we are biased in our own thinking and what we know, how many times we thought about it and how often, that played a part in our lives or whatever. Other people may not think it is. So we can be broad, because even
people
very
are telling us what our defining moments are. Can you imagine if we have a guest on, they give their thing, and we're just like, no, that's not defining.
I'm not buying it. Sorry, I hope you brought it back up. All right, so a couple other things that are just like fun things. Milo.
Are we going with the first one was fun?
No.
Okay.
Just some fun stuff. I would only wear this for an us episode, and I just wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to pay homage to Luna, to the old pup. So Milo got inspired for whatever reason. He often does. He often gets inspired by things. He likes to draw stuff, of course. Like his artist mom, and he enjoys spending his time that way. And I don't question when he gets inspired by things, what inspires them, but he made a picture that he wants me to hang up, and it's Squidward, and it just says, "I love podcast." And he's in a very interesting, weird pose. That is...
Well, first of all, he's a good artist for his age. He's really good.
He does a good job. He does a
second,
good job.
I barely know how to spell podcast. So good on him for that.
You got that right.
Wow. So what? You didn't ask him what?
What?
What
inspired
inspired
him?
that to say I love podcasts?
I think so. I honestly, I believe it came up because of the Gifts episode, and I was talking about it, and like I played it, some of it for Carrie, you know, when we first come in after the edit, and we were laughing about it, and I think it was just a kind of a hot topic. And in the household, and as well, so over my shoulder right here, there's this. He gave me a little minifig that he was like, and maybe you could hide this somewhere in the studio so you could see it in the in the recording or whatever. And I was like, that's fun. I like that he knows it's a thing, you know, that I do and we do, and he wanted to contribute in some way.
Do you think if you were Let's go to like I'm going to use my kids' ages. Let's say 14, my middle kid. Would you, if your dad had a podcast, would you listen to it at 14?
That's interesting. Gosh. I'd like to say I'd probably I'd like to say I'd probably give it a listen to see if it was the kind of thing that I got enjoyment out of, and if I did, I would. And if I didn't, I wouldn't. I think the first thing that comes to mind though is
everything.
But my first thing that came to mind was, okay, well, what would that be? And if he's talking about like car parts or something along those lines, then no, you know what I mean? Then I'm probably not, because I had to. The extent of my knowledge of car parts was when I had to work on the cars with him, and I got to do all that learning then. I didn't want to spend more time doing that outside of that. I wanted to go play basketball. I wanted to collect baseball cards and do all that, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not going to spend some of that time doing more car parts if I'm not super passionate about that. So it has to do with like the topic or what he would be talking about.
I think if it was my dad, it would all depend on how honest he is. My dad was so different than me. Like, he was a fighter. When I say like a fight, like he was, well, he was a professional kickboxer, but he used to get in like bar fights and stuff, and he was kind of like one of those bad people.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, I heard bits and pieces growing up of how bad he was. Like, he would lift weights and stuff, so I always be like, why is he like pushing it this hard? It's like, so you can go fight, even when we were kids. Like,
in the bars. And now you're not talking about like in the ring?
No. He didn't just limit it to bars. It was baseball fields was once, I remember. We went camping. That was another.
Oh, he was an equal opportunity fighter.
He was. Now, I'm sure my brother will come on and be like, he didn't fight. He didn't fight. And it was because I think the people on the other end were just so terrified of him. He would like drive motorcycles and stuff. You know, he was one of those guys that had long hair when he was younger. So if I'm sure he had stories. Unfortunately, he passed away. But I bet he had stories that if he was honest, my mom could probably come on and tell those, but. I don't know if we want that.
Well,
Diane.
What's interesting so about this, and I agree with your assessment completely, is it would have to do with how honest, or open, I guess, is kind of one of the things. Not necessarily honest, but how open, they would be. Because my dad to this day says on a fairly regular basis that he has numerous stories that he will not talk about. Like, he will not share. Like,
but why even say that?
I get it.
That's such a
my
weird
Uncle
thing
Bob.
To do. It's like, I'm going to tease something to you that you'll never get to hear.
I know. So because I know my Uncle Bob knows some of those stories, because he's told me, he's like, Bob knows, a couple of those or whatever, the whole thing. I don't know. And it's, I think some of that is a little bit generational. There's just a part of like,
you keep it locked down.
Yeah, it's more,
Started with our I'm the younger generation now. There's no such thing as a secret.
Of course, everything's on
mics and phones and
everything's live.
Everything.
Yeah, everything's live. Yeah, for sure.
What would be interesting though is if your dad did. What are we on? How many episodes are we on? Have we
30.
Done?
This is 38.
Okay, so 38 episodes of our nonsense. Milo and I think my kids would, if they were our age, I think they would go back and listen. They'd get a kick out of it.
They would on some of it, but to that same point, we're not being completely authentic. We've cut out half as much as we've actually half as much as we've released. We have kept to ourselves because we're like, I just can't go there. We're like, we can't do it, and we've been open about the fact that we're not comfortable, putting our careers.
We did say when I was driving 2 hours and you were on the phone with me. We should have recorded that, number one. But we did say that we would have the number one podcast if we could be open. I honestly believe we would have.
Yeah, if you didn't care about your career at all.
Woo!
To the moon. Yeah. So we're not authentic either. Completely authentic with our stuff. We're keeping it. We're keeping it pretty tight-lipped, as it were. I will
say though. Yeah. I will say when we have guests on, we're authentic. Like I think we're both pretty curious people.
Yeah, I don't think we're inauthentic with anything that we're portraying.
Right,
I'm just saying we're not willing to just freewheel everything that we think or say, or all the things that we've done. I could name 4 things right now off the top of my head that you will never talk about.
Let's move on. Next subject.
I did mention at the end of one of the last recordings that I did want to do a shout out. I want because
which we cut that out. Just an example of things we cut out.
Yeah, but yes, that there were 3 people I wanted to mention, but one of the things was just based on the video that just released, the music video. We made reference to it a week or two ago.
Audrey Ray Whiskey Train.
Yeah, and because of the White Castle from the Gifts story, that was that day when we filmed that. But a bunch of the guys came out from like high school,
from
high school and college, and some college buddies as well. That came out.
So good seeing those guys.
Yeah. That was so. I wanted to give a shout out to Vito, to Mike Vito, who I met at U of M at college. Was friends with, and I don't exactly remember how that whole thing came about. How he ended up living with Don and Dale was involved with that, but I don't remember exactly how that played out. Them living together, and that was actually. It's another story we're not going to tell. That was actually the one of the nights that we went up to Ann Arbor. You and I went up to Ann Arbor to go hang out. They were having a party. And
is this the?
Yeah.
Wait,
that was at that apartment.
So here's a real quick story of it. And we'll try and tell it sanitized, because I don't want to be like your dad where we we got all these great stories, can't tell.
I know.
Here's the sanitized version of this. There was a girl. This is the story, right?
Yes.
Where I was pining over for quite a long time.
Yes.
I have a feeling Gigi's going to tell me to cut this, but Gigi, it's not bad. So I was pining over. I finally got a date with her, and it was going to be on New Year's Day. I believe that to be right. It was going to be on New Year's Day. Well, New Year's Eve, we went up to University of Michigan, and we were jumping from party to party, and then we ended up at this one party, and it was the first and only time I ever had Goldschlager, which every great story starts with that. But so you got to imagine, University of Michigan's pretty big. We're at an
big campus,
and there was this girl that I was friends with in high school.
Yeah, we went to high school.
I mean, yeah, she was great. Really liked her. Like, she was fun and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how we started kissing. And
blame the Goldschlager.
Well, no, because there's no reason. Like, both of us were like, "What are we doing?" But we kissed literally at that moment when I turned around. The girl that I was pining over, she was like, "Rick," literally at that moment, and I was so excited to see her. I was like, "Hey, oh my God, you're here!" Here's the thing. She just randomly showed up at a random time, and she didn't even go to Michigan.
Nope.
She went to State, right?
Nope.
Okay, you don't name. You don't need to. Yeah, don't name schools.
Nope.
So this. Think of the odds. Think of the odds.
Yeah, the only common denominator was the fact that we were at a party with some high school friends, right? Like, so that were going to school there, and she also went to high school with us, though was younger, right? Not in our class. She also went to high school with us, and so I could see it, right? Like in terms of, oh, do we know anybody that's whatever? I could see it, but the timing for you to be
of
kissing,
her walking in, and right when I turn around, and it just hit me, it's like, she's here. Because the thing was, like, it wasn't like I did this on purpose, and we were not those type of guys that like get drunk and go make out.
No,
we didn't do that stuff.
No.
So it didn't even dawn on me what was going on. I will say it is to this day one of the worst hangovers I've ever had.
I have to tell you,
we went to that breakfast place, and I couldn't even get out of the car the next day, and I still, because you're still kind of in that hazy fog, I still thought I had a shot.
So my favorite part about that story, I mean, other than the part you just told, which is just the timing of it, it's unbelievable. It's impeccable. Shocking. If you wrote that into a script, you'd be like, oh, that would never happen.
Really,
it's ridiculous.
Just at that moment. Yeah.
So my favorite part about that whole evening, or weekend, or whatever we want to call it, was the next day after we went to breakfast. You couldn't get out of the car. You didn't get out of the car, and couldn't come in, couldn't eat, or whatever, the whole thing. We're on the drive back home, and you're in the back of the car, and you're like, we got to stop. You got to pull over. We got to stop, and because you were going to be sick. And so I pulled over on the side of the expressway, and you get out of the car, and there's a guardrail along there, and you're leaning over the guardrail, and you're just throwing up, right? Across the guardrail. And as you're doing that, and we got our windows down and whatnot, there's a car that drives by, and the person yells out the window, "I know how you feel!" As they see you throwing up on the side of the road. Oh, man. I to this day, it makes me laugh.
All right, so what were you going to say?
Anyway, so Vito was one of the guys that came out to the music video. And I did not know this. Vito actually knew my buddy Kenny that passed away. And he asked me, he was like, hey, he's like, I saw you post, and I said when I see you again, I would ask about it. But how did you know Kenny? And he knew Kenny. He grew up and played on a bunch of sports teams with him, and baseball and stuff. And it was a really, really fun. It's always heartbreaking to talk about Kenny, but it was really great to like have an interaction and hear some other really great stories about him and his growing up and how great of a guy he was, and somebody else's experience with it. So I was really happy about that. But he also said that he listens to the podcast regularly, and so I just wanted to give him a shout out for thanks for listening and thanks for.
I'm sure I met him before, but that was probably the first time me remembering meeting him, but seemed like a really good dude. Really good dude.
Awesome dude. Super awesome dude.
Man, I haven't seen Scott, Thad, Mike in 30 years. I think is has to be. I mean,
we saw them for the 10-year reunion.
Are you sure? Brinkman?
I'm not positive about Brinkman, but I'm pretty sure Thad. I don't know.
Yeah, Thad probably. Maybe.
I think Thad was at the. I'm pretty sure Thad met at Emmerine's beforehand.
So, do we? Yeah.
Okay. Wait. So two other shout outs. That one is Matt McKillop, who listens all the time, and I totally love and appreciate. He was one of the few, maybe only, people that supported me going down the path of the unexpected passenger gift. So I had talked about it because he and I have back and forths all the time about it. And he was like, you got to do it. He was like, I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of concerned. He's like, anyway, he went down the path of of it being cool. He listens all the time, so I want to give a shout out to Matt. And then Matt's last awesome. One, which I think you'll appreciate, which I found out through my parents, that my old next door neighbor Steve Boggs listens to the podcast as well.
Oh my gosh!
So Steve,
we
and
drove
Joanne
by his house when we were there last time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Steve, if you saw, I think we were in a gray car, just someone staring out. We weren't casing the joint. It was my wife and I, and we just drove by, and I was just pointing out who all these people were. Oh, that's so good to hear.
I know.
That's
I love
so
it.
good to hear.
It made me happy. So
yeah, it makes me happy.
Shout out Steve Boggs for listening. Thanks.
It doesn't make me happy that Matt listens, so screw you, Matt. No, I'm kidding. We love Matt. What else? What else you got?
No, that was it. And then my I'm not proud of it stuff, but I figured we'd talk about your panel stuff.
Oh, before we get to your pooping stories?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't want to follow that.
Nope.
Yeah, so setting the stage, Renee Trevino called me and asked if I would be on a panel that she was hosting for. It was a Women in Film Summit in San Antonio. They have the Celestial Awards there, and she's hosting the awards. And so they have all these panels throughout the week. And she asked me, Brian Hart, who's been on the podcast, Steve Trevino, the comedian who's been on the podcast, and Deanna, who's Steve's old manager. We were on this panel about it was about the Netflix special we did, but I don't remember the exact name of the panel. But yeah, I mean, I was actually quite nervous going into it, and you know, if you've listened to 20 seconds of this podcast, I'm pretty self-deprecating, and I called you on the way, so we talked for like 2 hours because it was in San Antonio. I'm in Austin, and I had to keep reminding myself that I've been doing this for 25 years, and I know what I'm talking about. And it's a weird thing. Like, I don't want to. I hate using the word I'm an expert in this field, but I've done it, you know. And
yeah,
so, like,
you've got experience with the things, so
right. And so the people that are in these, that go to these kind of panels and ask the questions and stuff, they're looking for advice. They're looking for a good story or like an experience, hearing about an experience or whatever. So I really had to prep myself and be like, I'm going to talk slow.
Yeah.
I'm going to be deliberate, and then and treat it as I'm the expert of producing a comedy special, which it went to number 2, so we did something right.
Yeah, you definitely did something right. So did it work? Were you able to talk slow?
So yes, however, it you know, I had a real I had problem how I was going to structure the first question that Renee was going to ask. She sent them pre-hand, and you and I even talked about it on the way of that first question. And so I talked to her before, and I was like, hey, the question was, God, I'm forgetting now. It was something along the lines of, what are non-negotiables when you're either doing a special or a documentary that'll make it commercially viable?
Yeah, it was very close.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And the answer is, to be a truthful answer, there's 2 answers. One is a documentary is completely different than doing a comedy special. I think everyone in our company would agree that the only thing that makes something commercially viable in the documentary space is access. If you don't have access, you can't do a documentary. On a comedy special, if we're just talking commercial viability, there's 2 paths you can look at. Commercially sellable, is that one way to do that? It's kind of have someone that's known, that's going to have an audience. Or if it's to get eyeballs on it, you don't know. I mean, we're not in charge of marketing it. We're not in charge of a lot of the kind of extras that go in to make something popular. I mean, the fact that Steve has 4 million social media followers, that certainly helps.
Yeah.
You know, so he's out there promoting it, banging the drum on that.
I don't know what you ended up talking about, but you and I discussed that it's not like there's a magic formula per se, right? Like,
if
you can
there
go
was,
check.
I wouldn't be doing a podcast.
There, you know, you can go watch 100 different specials, comedy specials on Netflix, and they're all done in a different way, in a different manner, a different, you know, like, so it's kind of based on your experience and what was important to you and everybody involved in that particular project. So,
well, so the questions, like Renee, like the biggest issue with this, and not issue, that's not the right word of saying it. The biggest kind of X factor of this whole thing is we had Steve Trevino there. Right. Like, this is what he does for a living. He's funny in front of people.
Right.
So any question we would ask, like he could chime in at any point, and he did, and he was funny and charming as he always is. And Brian Hart, who's got a million stories, they were funny. So the thing is I was kind of the straight man. I bombed on one thing though. Like Brian told this whole thing about writing. I was like, I just got to say, like my thing with Brian is, I grew up being a fan or whatever, and when the first day I met him, we got to drive in a car for 3 hours, so I felt like I was being annoying, asking him all these questions about all these hit shows that he's on. And then I turned to Steve, I'm like, can you make any of this funny? And Steve's like, no. So I'm like,
but that in itself, I'm sure, was funny.
That was funny, but it was like, I felt myself kind of like, oh, where am I going with this? Where's my life raft? Oh, Steve, say something.
It happened. Well, it's all right. It was a good setup. It's a good setup for Steve. I don't know about bombs. I get where you're going. I get where you're going with that, though. That it just didn't go anywhere that you wanted it to.
So the panel was about 45 minutes. It actually was pretty interesting. There's no Q&A, and I say it was 45 minutes. We were allotted 45 minutes, but I think we went 56 minutes, and it literally got to the point where, like, one more thing, one more story, one more thing. And Steve was telling stories, Brian was telling stories. I because of producing things, I'm like, guys, we got to wrap this up. Like, let's go. No, I told something really close to the 45-minute mark, and I looked, I'm like, I think we have time for this one last thing. And they totally didn't even care. Steve and Brian were like, I got one more for you guys.
Wow. So no Q&A. You mean from like the audience though, right?
Yes, there was and it was a good sized crowd. It was good. I mean, you have Steve Trevino there. Like,
sure.
You get to meet Steve and stuff.
Yeah.
It was at this really beautiful hotel. So then we went to this, man, it was a speakeasy bar in the hotel, but they have a lobby bar, and then they have this speakeasy bar that I walked by it 100 times, didn't know that there was literally a door there. Like, it wasn't a door, it was part of the wall, and you had to push it to get in. So it was cool that so it was blocked off to the probably only people that were in the crowd got to go there. So that's where we kind of had people asking questions and
after the fact, just hanging at the bar. Got it. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And you know, because I've been to these when I was younger and stuff, I could see people like looking at Steve wanting to get it interactive stuff, but it's somewhat awkward. You're in a bar. It's not. They didn't have loud music, but it was just a lot of people talking. But I could see people like trying to listen to Steve when it was like me, Brian, and stuff. So I kept being like, "Hey, come in, like let's all talk." So I kept moving the circle outer and outer and outer. So it's just big circle now. Yeah. And Steve holding court and stuff. So it was fun. That's fun. I mean, Renee is going to be. The awards are tonight. I unfortunately can't go to the awards. She is as calm and charismatic and funny as Steve, and she's well prepped and stuff. She's an outstanding host.
That's
great.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun to do. Yeah, so when you said it was like kind of a defining moment, it was one of those things where when we were talking on the way to the event was I always when you're younger, you're like, how do you get to have the experience to be on here? And it was the first time that I felt like, especially with the Diddy show and the Gilgo Beach Murders that went #2 on Peacock and the Hulu series that are hits, it was the first time walking in something that the credits superseded me. Like where I didn't have to be like, oh, I've done this, like if maybe you saw it on Discovery, maybe you did. Like some of these were big enough shows that I could feel like they know the work, so I'm speaking from that. And then to know that we had this comedy special that people were coming because of the headline, it being like, how do you from root to fruit of a comedy special type thing. So that was cool.
That's fun. Yeah. And then just kind of you touched on it, but that mentally for you overcoming that self-deprecating mentality, which you have always had. It's not just like career. You've always been willing to be the one to make the joke about yourself, or like put yourself down to get a laugh, type thing. So you've kind of always operated that way, but that's not going to serve itself in a place where you're coming to be the SME, the subject matter expert, right, on the particular thing that they're talking about. So we had talked about, it made sense to treat it a little bit more like teaching, right, where you're coming from a place of knowledge and experience to be able to convey that rather than your typical MO. So I don't know. I think it's cool. Exactly what you're talking about how do you get to that point? Like, look at that. Now you're at that point, which has as much to do, just so I've said it, with some of the credentials, probably more so about the relationships that you have, right? That invite is about your relationships that you have with them, and that speaks to
right.
you as that speaks to you personally, how you are personally. Yeah, which counts for a lot as well. Yeah. Any other notes from that? That, like, I don't know. See anything that any stories that you hadn't heard before or that stood out to you, or
no, I mean, I think Deanna was telling about they produced I mean, it's interesting because I know all of Steve's stories now. Keep in mind, I knew Steve, we started working together in like 2003 or something like that, 4. Yeah. So I've known Steve a long time, so I've heard most of the stories. But there was a period where we didn't talk because we weren't friends or anything like that. It's just that his career went one way, mine went the other. Mm-hmm. And so when they did the first comedy special, they talked about that a lot. Of Steve had a Showtime showcase with a bunch of other comedians like Sebastian Madagascar. Is that how you say his name?
I don't know, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so like they all went kind of made it, and Steve's would only air during Cinco de Mayo because he's Mexican American. And so they talked about the challenges of you already have a special out there, but no one's giving you another special. So they had to pay for it themselves, and the challenges of that being, they moved back to Texas, and how do you film this special with basically no money? And so it was interesting hearing that, but I've heard that story 100 times. I just didn't hear it from Deanna's side, from the producer's side.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you think the audience felt good about it?
Holy cow, they did. Yeah. You could tell that we got so many compliments about the kind of overarching theme of what people were saying to us is that we have good chemistry and that we all love each other. Like, you could tell that we're all comfortable with each other and friends and stuff. So I think so. And the people that it's women in film, so it's a lot of these people. When they were asking me, is like, well, how do you do this? How can I break into this or whatever? So I gave a lot of one-on-one time with people and just be like, look, there's no you have to do it this way. Right. I can just tell you what's worked for us as a company, what's worked for me as an individual. Yeah. And I was like, but just like with me when I was growing up in this business, is like, just email me. Look, it was cool. It was fun. There's people celebrating your work, and that's always fun. And it's always fun to do things with Steve and Renee. Like, they're just fun to be around. Course. So
yeah. Well, that does have to help you feel validated, right, in your work and your sacrifices and your all the things that you do. It's one of the rare times where you can feel validated. There's some actual external I don't know, palpable or like, actual interaction that's giving you some of that feedback. So that makes sense.
And some of these were young people, so it's always kind of fun to be like, hey, you're just starting out. Here's some pitfalls to look at. And then hanging out with Brian, I hung out with Brian quite a bit that night, and he may be the funniest man alive. You go back and listen to the Brian Hart episode, because I can't tell you how many times, even if I'm just pouring a little drink for myself, where I just go fighting whiskey.
Fighting whiskey, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Which one's the fighting whiskey?
That's one of the hardest I've laughed as an adult.
That was absolutely hysterical. Yeah. Yes.
All right, pooping stories.
fighting whiskey.
I can't believe we're going here.
We don't.
Yeah, because we're gonna, because you wouldn't even tell me, like, you wouldn't tell me.
Well, so
on the phone. You're like, let's save it.
I'll give you two things that came up that I don't know how much you're gonna allow the one story to go to, but so I'll give you
it's your story, so it's gonna be the whole thing.
I'll give you two items that popped into my head of that could fit into the I'm not proud of it category. Which the first one.
Cue the music.
Eric's I'm not proud of it.
So the first one is what I'm gonna call salsa cereal, and you're gonna love this. So it dawned on me that there is this magical timing of a situation that when you've got salsa and chips, that when you get to the end of the bag of the chips, right? So you don't have a full chip anymore that you can dip and eat the salsa with, right?
Don't tell me.
Now it's kind of like the.
Do you put it in the salsa and eat it with a spoon?
It's kind of like the shakeables at the bottom, right?
Dude.
So if there's also not that much left of the salsa that's in,
I don't know why. I may be the biggest chips and salsa fan. This is grossing me out.
It's so good. It makes so much sense. I can't even tell you.
Dude,
so
I don't know. Like, if you were to tell me, like, take a spoonful of salsa and eat it, I think that's so gross. For some reason, it's so gross. I don't know why, but I love salsa. I could do the same exact thing. If there was a chip and I use it as a spoon and just eat the salsa, I could do that no problem.
So meaning you just don't even bite the chip. You just use the chip
it as a spoon. I could do that no problem, but there's something about a spoon going in there. So if you're telling me, and I think you're going to tell this,
it's the little bowl. So first of all, you dump the salsa into a small bowl, right? That's where you're just dipping from, and you're doing the chips, right? And then so it just gets to the end where there's the crumbles, and then there's a little bit left in the jar, and you dump them in the bowl together, and you stir them up, and you eat them like cereal. It's salsa cereal, and it's so wonderful. I can't even tell you. It's just magical. I can't believe this. First of all, you got to try it. And first of all, it's not wasteful. I'm actually utilizing what the hard-earned money that I made and spent on these delicious chips. So I did it like yesterday, I think it was, maybe the day before. I'm like, oh look, we're at that spot where I can make salsa cereal and eat it with a spoon, and it's delicious. It should be a thing.
So if it's delicious, it might be a thing. Isn't that
maybe it's a thing?
Yeah. Are migas? Is that what migas are? Isn't it just chips and salsa on an egg or something like that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't. Yeah, all right. Well, maybe a Texas thing. Migas? Really?
I don't know.
Someone chime in there. So the question then becomes, why wouldn't you just do that from the start? Why wouldn't you just crush it? If it's that good, just crush it up and make a soup.
No. It's not it's better than using like your full chip and getting salsa and eating the chip and salsa together. It's not that it's better than that, but it's just a different experience with the same flavors.
Bigger question I have here. Is it time to hang up the podcast? Is this it?
We can cut it all out.
We're leaving every second of your salsa cereal, and I swear to God, we're naming this episode "Salsa Cereal." Hashtag salsa cereal.
I did not look to see if it's a thing or so. It's of course it's a thing. Somebody's got to have it out there.
I will guarantee no one's called it salsa cereal.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
there's number one.
That's number one.
There's number one.
Do we don't need to do another music cue, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, top 10.
Because we can always, depending if what we're gonna keep, what we're gonna edit out. So number two is, I don't know if it fits in this category, other than eating healthy ended up being the problem here, which is the part that I'm not proud of, because I've been trying to eat better and exercise and lose weight, do all the things that I need to be doing. And so I was just on a trip, work trip, and I was coming back from San Francisco, so it was going to be like a 5-hour flight. And for whatever reason, the dinner the night before was different. I'm on the road and, whatever, the teriyaki chicken and rice and whatever. But the next morning, I had breakfast, and this is getting up early to go to the airport, and I get breakfast, and I tried to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't go to the bathroom. And then I got to the airport, and I got on some meetings, and I did all the thing. I got there way early because I had to be on meetings, and I needed to be stationary. And so got on meetings and did all that stuff, and then took a break and went and ate some to go get lunch. And now with a lot of my new dietary restrictions, now I'm trying to be gluten-free and dairy-free, which is difficult to find. But there was a restaurant there that had options, and I was very excited about it. I got this like rice bowl, it's chicken and rice bowl, and with some veggies in it and stuff. And then they had a smoothie that was already pre-made smoothies that were there. It was like green smoothie, and I was like, all right, that sounds great. I'm gonna also get a smoothie. And so I ate the lunch, and I drank like half the smoothie, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to get on my flight soon. I need to use the bathroom. I need to try and figure out a way to go to the bathroom. And so I tried to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't go. And I was like, this is not gonna be good. Like I am getting on a plane for a 5-hour flight, a 5-hour plus, right, with the taxi and everything else.
Can I show photos at the appropriate time? Because I didn't know where this was going, but I have documented proof of where this is going.
So I'm like, and I was like, okay, whatever. If I can't go, then it'll probably, whatever. I'll figure it out. It'll be fine, right? So you can add that later. You don't have to do it now.
No, I just want to pull up what you texted me.
So I get onto the plane. And I don't make it an hour into the flight before I know I'm in trouble. Like, this is not okay. I'm definitely going to have to go. And then it dawns on me that beyond I didn't actually get to go in the morning like I normally would, I also had that green smoothie, and my body was probably like, what is this fibrous substance that you just gave me that was not okay? It did not sit well. And I was like, only an hour, and I was like, there's zero chance that I'm gonna not have to go to the bathroom and go use the bathroom. And dude, I haven't pooped on a plane in over a decade, since it was like since our trip, our 11-hour flight to Scotland and Ireland, right? Like, so so I got to this point where I was like debating, like, am I gonna be able to try and hold this? Am I gonna be no, I'm gonna have to go. So I did. And
I know, and you sent me a picture, and it says, "There's nothing good about this." You sent the only picture you could send. I don't think we should show this, but it's the only picture. Just think about any type of picture you would take. It's just feet, and the pants are pulled down, and it's just, there's nothing good about this. And I had a good chuckle.
So I get through what we're going to call round one, that I think it's probably okay. So a couple things about that. So those bathrooms are not designed for bigger people. And like, I'm not huge, but I'm not small. And it is really uncomfortable situation to try and go to the bathroom on a plane. Maybe the first class one's different and better and bigger or something. I don't know, but the back with the commoners, not so much. And like, I don't know. I won't get into the details about any of that stuff. It just, all of it makes it very difficult. And yeah, so we're gonna get into details on that.
Please don't.
We won't. So I figure I'm probably in the clear, right? I'm like, okay, I'm probably in the clear. Nope. I get down. I go back to the seat. I sit down and I continue watching the movie or whatever. And I get another hour and a half in, and I'm just like
how long is this flight?
I'm hurt. It's a 5-hour flight.
Okay.
And I'm like physically hurting, and I'm like, am I gonna have to go again? And this poor guy, and of course, I'm in a middle seat because I booked last minute for this flight. It was a last minute like scheduling or whatever, the whole thing. So this poor guy next to me's got to get up and let me out. And we get like further into the flight, and I'm like, sorry, I got to go again. And of course, there's like a line, and there's like whatever, at that point. So I go for round 2. I'm like, okay, I've got to be okay at this point, right? I got to be done. And nope, sure enough. So we get another hour into the flight or whatever,
my God,
4.5 hours, buddy. It got so bad. So I was like, it was.
I'm not trying to be gross here, but like, how long are you in the bathroom for? Is like 15 minutes?
I couldn't because there were other people waiting, and I didn't want to be that guy. I was trying to like be as quick as possible. So no, I was trying to be as quick as possible.
Did you apologize as you were walking out of there? I'm so sorry, guys.
Mentally maybe, but I didn't want to draw attention. Oh man, dude, I was trying so much. There was the hand sanitizer that was there that kind of had like an alcohol smell to it. I was like, oh, maybe if I like hand sanitizer the room, it won't smell as bad, like whatever.
My God.
I was trying. So dude, we got like 4 hours in, and I was like, oh no, like I'm gonna have to go back, and it was like hitting me hard. I was like, this is not good. I'm gonna have to go, and it just, of course, coincided with the pilot saying, we're going to need to stop services early and get the prepped. We're going to start our descent early, for all these different reasons. There's snowstorms in Detroit, so blah, 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 blah. So now we're in the descent, which everybody has to stay in their seat, for that. And I was like, oh boy, this is a problem. So it got so bad, I was quite literally... I was like, okay, this is going to be mind over matter. I have to figure out I have to be okay with this. So I came up with the mantra of I am strong, I am resilient, I'm okay. I am strong, I'm resilient, I'm okay. I'm trying to mind over matter this situation because I can't get to the bathroom. So another 20 minutes goes by, and the pilot comes on and says, you may have noticed that we're at Detroit, but we're not currently landing because they've closed down the airport because of the snow, and they have to. We're now going to circle until we figure out what the plan is going to be. They said they're going to plow the runways, but we're going to find out. And the pilot's like, I'm guessing it'll be 20 to 30 minutes, but I'll let you know as soon as I know more. And I'm like, oh my God. So now that's another 20 to 30 minutes before we can even start to land. And I'm doing the math. I'm doing the bathroom math, right? And then we're going to have to taxi, and we're going to have to get there. And then I'm in the middle, so it's going to take me a while to get off. Or I was like, I'm an hour away. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to make it. I am strong. I'm resilient. I'm okay. I'm just trying the whole thing. So then, coincidentally, simultaneously, I was watching Top Gun Maverick, the movie, and he got on. He said, we've been cleared to land, and because we were able to circle, I was able to finish the movie. And just coincidentally, that as we went to go land, the credits were rolling and the music got super intense, and of course it was snowstorm, and he was all over the place while we were trying to land, whatever. And this intense music I was listening, happened to, and I swear to you, literally the moment we landed, and then he slowed down enough, because he was still sliding some on the, you could see,
God.
I was still sliding a little bit on the runway and stuff, and
were you scared?
I was nervous. When it finally slowed down enough, at the exact moment, the soundtrack changed in the credits to a nice calm music song. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Look at that. I have my own soundtrack for it. But so then we're on the ground, we land, and it's taking forever to get over to the building, like where we landed in the taxi and the ride. It feels like he's driving forever. Like we landed in Ohio and he's like just now. It felt like forever, of course. And so we get up toward the building finally, 15 minutes later or something like that, and he stops short of the building. I can see, like, we're short of the building, and he gets on and he says, so we're at the gate, but we have not pulled up because it has not been plowed yet. And on top of that, we don't currently have a jet bridge crew because of all the delays. They are at other places, so we're not sure how long it's going to be. He's like, it might be another 20 to 30 minutes, but I don't have an idea. And I'm like, at this point in my head, I'm going, this is an emergency situation. I'm going to have to get up and go. I'm going to have to, right? As I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna just get up and go, he gets on the radio 2 different times and says, everyone has to be in their seats and seated for me to move the plane. It is, and he says like it is FAA regulation that everyone has to be seated in order for the plane to move. So now I'm thinking, oh my God. So now if I go and go to the bathroom,
gonna be the asshole.
I'm holding up the entire plane. Yeah. I'm holding up the entire plane. I'm like, oh God. So I sat there for another like 5 or 10 minutes, and I didn't want to do that. And I was like, I just keep sniffing around. I'm like, I have to go. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to run back there. And then he gets on and he goes, we don't know. We don't have any sort of indication as to when this is going to, So if you need to use the restroom, go ahead and get up and go. And I like looked at the guy, and he knew. I think he could tell I was probably very uncomfortable, like sitting in the seat. And he kind of got up, and I got up and went to go to the back. But I was in the middle of the plane, so there were other people that, of course, got up that were standing in line in front of me. So somebody was already in there, and of course, only one of the 2 were working at this point. Could have been my fault. I don't think it was. But only 1 are working. There's 2 people in front of me, and I'm not even joking. There was like this older woman that like stood up, and I was like, I shimmied past her like as she was like staying. I was like, I'm not. Any other day, any other day, I would have been like, please, after you. And I was like, nope, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. I'm like, I gotta go get in line. But I finally made it to the back for the last visit.
So what's the scoreboard on this? Was it 4 times?
3 on the plane. 3 on the plane, and then still took a while to get off. And then I was like, oh, so then, but now we're in a snowstorm, and what would be normally an hour drive home is showing it's going to take me 2.5 hours to get home because everything's accidents everywhere. There's tons of snow everywhere.
Did you
so
gotta
everything's
move,
super
man.
slow. I took a video just for you that I need to send you where I'll send it to you right after this, where I shot a video of me going down the road of like playing everyone's favorite game. Am I in a lane? Like, because it's snow everywhere and you can't tell. And I was like, well, it's me and this other car, so we must be in a lane, right? Like, it's one of those things. But yeah, so it was going to be like 2.5 hours home. So I was like, I need to make sure I'm going to be able to make it home. So I spent some more time for, another round before I hit the road. And using the bathroom on the plane, I'm not proud of it. That's what it boils down to. Eating healthy really, really got me in trouble for that flight. I would have been in trouble anyway, but that one definitely got me in trouble.
The funniest thing about this whole thing is your body is so like, anything healthy, I got to get it out.
Immediate exit. Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't know. I eat smoothies all the time, but they're like the delicious, sugary ones
exactly.
not the kale and.
Do you want your Cinnamon Toast Crunch in this smoothie?
Oh yeah. So, that was a mistake. That was my bad. My bad on the smoothie. I guarantee it was the smoothie.
So if the person sitting next to you is listening, Eric apologizes.
So sorry. I did apologize like multiple times, and he was cool about it. I mean, I'm sure he was annoyed, but it's it is what it is. I didn't have a chance for an aisle seat. I would have taken it. I always take it if I can. Yeah. So anyway, we're not going to get into details because there are details, but I'm not going to.
We don't need to. No,
nope,
we're good.
We're good. I know you would not be okay with any of that.
No, we wouldn't. But all right. I mean, we're not going to finish this. I mean, there's no story after this one, so.
That's what we're ending on? Are we done?